questions is what happened in that hotel room. And we are getting reports from a Hollywood executive who was sleeping in the room directly upstairs. And she says at 3:30 in the afternoon, she heard 2 loud booms, which she likened to somebody dropping something on the floor. 2 loud booms. And that was shortly before, of course, the authorities were called at 3:43. After the 2 loud booms, she heard loud voices and panic, and then she heard a siren. Now, I was just curious. I don't know if Mike Brooks is still here, but there's been talk of people trying to figure out 2 loud booms. Somebody falling, okay, would constitute 1 loud boom. But what are the possibilities with 2 loud booms? That has been sort of perplexing as we try to piece together this puzzle.
Yeah, you know what? And I want to bring people up to date with this timeline before we get to Mike Brooks, because the exact timeline, everything happened very quickly. We're trying to piece together yesterday's events between the time that Whitney Houston was found and when she was pronounced dead. It was only about a half an hour. She was supposed to have attended Clive Davis's pre-Grammy party in the same hotel, but at around 3:30 p.m. Pacific time, a music executive staying in the room above Whitney Houston's woke up after hearing 2 loud thuds. So the executive is above Whitney Houston. Then the music executive heard someone yelling, but didn't know what was going on. Police reported getting a phone call at 3:43, so that's about 13 minutes, that's about 13 minutes, that's about 13 minutes after the thuds. After Houston's bodyguard found her unconscious. Police say that they got there in just 2 minutes, and fire department officials were already on the scene. Medics were trying to resuscitate Whitney Houston, but it was too late. Just 12 minutes later, Mike, they pronounced Whitney Houston dead at the age of 48. They had her friends ID her body, and they notified her family. But what is striking to you about how quickly these events happened?
Well, the fire department was already there because there was the pre-Grammy events, Carlos, and you usually have the fire department there looking for fire code violation to make sure everything is good. So they were already there. They started CPR while the other units were on the way. When they got there, usually what they'll do, they'll put the paddles from the defibrillator on her, check her vitals. And apparently there was nothing that they could see that they could do to revive her, and that's why they went ahead and pronounced her at 3:55 there in the room. But those 2 loud noises that Jane was just talking about, yes, a body hitting the floor, it could make a loud noise. It depends. I mean, me hitting the floor and Whitney Houston hitting the floor is going to make a difference of a noise. Was somebody else there? And that's the other thing with this investigation, Carlos. They're going to go back, because I know the Beverly Hilton Hotel has many, many video cameras. They're going to go back. They're going to talk to people over the last 48 hours of what they saw. Was there any erratic behavior? Who was she with? Go back, and then they're going to look at the surveillance cameras. Where was she from the time she was last seen over the last maybe 2 or 3 hours prior to that? Who went into her room? Who came out of her room? Who got on the elevator with her? Who was in the lobby? They're going to take a look at try to interview people to find out what exactly happened within the last hour of her life.
You're looking at pictures right now of Whitney Houston from Thursday night coming out of a club. And we don't want to speculate right now how she died. Police have said that the people at the Beverly Hilton say that there's not foul play involved. They don't suspect foul play. The cause of death is under investigation. But, Mike, you and I were all over the Anna Nicole Smith case.
Right.
And this is eerily similar to that, because you have a bodyguard finding the body.
Yeah.
And in that case, the video from the hallway said a lot, because it showed, when Anna Nicole Smith went in, who was in the room with her at different times. So I would suspect that's going to be the same with this case.
Absolutely. It is going to be paramount to this investigation. And it's better video technology now than there even was back then, a number of years ago. So, yeah, and the Beverly Hilton, I've been there a number of times. Yes, they do have lots of cameras. So it is going to be important. Was her behavior, as some people are saying, erratic on Thursday? Who was the last person to see her? Who was with her? How did she get there? These are all questions that remain unanswered. But the Beverly Hills Police, they were saying in their statement that there were no obvious signs of foul play in that room.
And very quickly, Mike, I mean, this is now it's time to trace the trail, because and I'm saying if, we don't know if there are drugs involved, if there are prescription drugs involved.
Right.
But if there were, then you trace the trail from that. where did she get these things, or what was in the room? How did those things get into the room? And it's a trail that needs to be traced.
Exactly. And what kind of medication was she on? We heard, she was she was at the throat doctor. So we do know that she was under some kind of medical care. At least seeing a doctor maybe for preventive measures. We don't know. But no, that's going to play a big role. What was found inside of that room? What kind of evidence was there at that death scene? Because right now, it's a death investigation. Again, we don't know right now, and the LA coroner is not saying what the cause or the manner of her death is.
And AJ, we've talked about this time and time. Yeah, go ahead, Jane.
Yeah, what I was saying is friends saw her swimming with her daughter in the pool Wednesday and Thursday and said she looked healthy and happy, and then she went out Thursday night to that pre-Grammy bash where there are conflicting reports about her behavior. There's video of her singing on stage. Some people may have critiqued her voice, but she certainly seemed okay otherwise. Then there are photographs of her leaving where she appears off, to characterize it that way, something not quite right. So that's a part of the puzzle. The other part of the puzzle is that her cousin, Dionne Warwick, and her mother had spoken to her, according to published reports, earlier in the day about, well, are we at the same table, things like that. So that earlier in the day they had spoken to her, and she appeared fine. I don't know if that was over the phone or in person, but they had spoken to her earlier in the day.
All right. Well, much more about the death of Whitney Houston. We've got coverage from coast to coast. AJ Hammer in New York City with Showbiz Tonight. Jane Velez Mitchell on the ground in Los Angeles. The stunning, shocking death of one of the best voices of our generation, Whitney Houston, found dead yesterday at the Beverly Hilton Hotel in Los Angeles. Tonight, the Grammys. How will the Grammys honor Whitney Houston, and what was the cause of death? It's all coming up.
Let's get right to ABC's Cecilia Vega, who joins us live from the Beverly Hilton Hotel in Los Angeles. Cecilia?
Yes, good morning, George. It happened here at 3:43 yesterday afternoon when a member of Houston's entourage located her body inside this hotel. So far, police and the coroner are refusing to offer details about what may have caused her tragic death. Exactly what happened inside the iconic Beverly Hilton remains a mystery. Paramedics raced to the 4th floor and found a lifeless Whitney Houston inside her hotel room bathtub. They tried in vain to resuscitate her with CPR.
At 3:55 p.m. this afternoon, Whitney Houston was pronounced dead at the Beverly Hilton Hotel.
The scene inside her room was chaotic. ABC has learned it appears members of Houston's entourage found her unresponsive body and called hotel security. But just about a half hour earlier, Houston's mother, Sissy, reportedly spoke to her daughter and said nothing was out of the ordinary. Houston's cousin, Dionne Warwick, also reportedly spoke to her over the phone earlier in the day and said everything seemed fine. Houston was staying at the hotel to attend music. Houston was staying at the hotel to attend music. Houston was staying at the hotel to attend music industry executive Clive Davis's annual pre-Grammy bash. It is the same event where she was introduced to the record industry nearly 3 decades ago. Hours after her death, the party still went on, but the scene was surreal. The Beverly Hills Crime Lab parked outside. Paparazzi camped out waiting for Houston's body to emerge. Inside, a star-studded lineup of speeches and songs. Her final days were marked by questions about her sobriety. Houston's stay at the Beverly Hilton involved heavy partying, according to news reports. And then early Friday morning, what would become Houston's final performance. She sang a duet with Grammy nominee Kelly Price at a party at a Hollywood nightclub. Houston was there with her daughter having a good time. But after cheers on stage, these photos of a disheveled, bloated, and agitated Houston leaving. She reportedly had blood dripping down her leg, scratches on her wrist, and had to be escorted from the club. She reportedly had blood dripping down her leg, scratches on her wrist, and had to be escorted from the club. But the people who knew her said she was simply sweating from her performance.
There was nothing wrong. There was nothing wrong. She was singing. She was dancing, she was laughing, she was playing. I'm going to remember her just like that, because that's the Whitney that I always had the pleasure of being around.
The pop superstar would be dead the next day. Now, one report says Whitney Houston was found with prescription drugs inside her room here at the Beverly Hilton and that she may have drowned in the bathtub. Whatever happened, the coroner says if an autopsy is performed, it could be a day or two before that's done. Robin?
And until then, we just don't know. Cecilia, thank you.
A Los Angeles hip-hop artist who goes by the name of the original Young Buck, who I know to be close to Ray J. He told me just a few minutes ago that Ray J was with her and is the one who found her dead in the Beverly Hills Hotel, or rather the Beverly Hills Hotel. And we don't know any other details from that. I'm hoping to speak with Ray J Norwood. But that is what we're being told by Ray J Norwood, that he just spoke with him and that he has been with them. And we have no other details.
I'm in the London Centre for Nanotechnology, where they make the smallest particles that are possible to be made. And the reason why I'm wearing the garb is because any skin cell in the atmosphere will contaminate what they do. And here on my fingertip is a little electronic chip. On this chip, they can fit 50 million transistors.
This, the next generation of mini miracles, is as small as it gets. For now, each electronic component in these circuits is smaller than a virus. And that miniaturization means that chips, like viruses, are getting closer to us than we could have possibly imagined.
Now here's the thing, this microchip is made of a substance which is entirely edible, so when you swallow it, it gets dissolved by the acid in your stomach, and it sends a signal to a plaster on your arm, and the plaster on your arm, ow, has got this little device like a radio, and if you haven't taken your pill, I get a message on my phone saying, you haven't taken your pill today.